score after one period of play in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Islanders 1, Edmonton 0. Our between period activities right after this.
Some wide open stuff in that first period in this Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Championship of 1983. The Islanders draw first blood and they lead the Edmonton Oilers by a score of 1-0. Dwayne Sutter notching his 8th goal of the playoffs. Well, as the Islanders come in to face the Oilers in this Stanley Cup Series, we know what kind of offensive pressure they will be facing. And that means the pressure will be on the defense of the New York Islanders. And it will fall partially on the man to my immediate right, Stefan Persson of the New York Islanders. Stefan, that was a wide-open first period. And if you had expected to be tested, you certainly were.
Well, we were tested, no doubt about that. I don't think that was the kind of period we wanted to play, really. When we went out there, we wanted to try to keep them their own end and force the defense to make the mistake. This period, I think they were too much in our own end, and we had to dig it out quite a few times.
Secretly, though, can't you look back on the first period and say, well, we absorbed a lot of pressure, we frustrated them, and we proved that we can stand in front and clear the puck when we have to?
Yeah, I think we did. They had a lot of good chances, though, but usually in a hockey game you get that. But I think we had some solid effort from the defense down there, and there were quite a few power plays too, but they sort of even up there at the end. But if we start getting a little bit more power play, I think we can get a few more goals too.
Stefan, the situation with the Islanders has always been you can play whatever type of game you would like to play, and we will be able to play with you. Coming off a series with the Boston Bruins, the different styles between Boston and Edmonton are very, very large. How do you adapt so quickly?
That's tough, no doubt about that. Because Boston, they really take your body, and they sort of play the game that they take the mistakes you do and they score on that. Edmonton are the opposite. I mean, they try to force the other team and get their own chances. So it's a whole different game, and we got some good skaters, so it's up to them really to skate with the Oilers, and the check is really to take them out in their own end.
As defensemen, singularly in this game, you can't do it by yourself. In other words, you with Dennis Potvin can't do it alone. How do you draw the entire team into the defensive thinking that they must have in playing against an Edmonton team like this?
I don't think you can just put it on like before a game like Edmonton. I think you got to work on that the whole year, and I think Gas doing that with us. That we playing some bad teams maybe during the season, but still he wants us to think a little bit defensively too, and just not run around sort of. And when the playoff comes, it's sort of in your back of your mind, and you just pick it out and you use it.
As you probably know, those of you watching at home, Mike Bossy not playing tonight for the Islanders, had tonsillitis when he woke up this morning. I hope your tonsils are fine, but I was wondering what you might have been thinking when you came in and found out that Mike wouldn't play. Earlier in the playoffs, when Brian Trautwig couldn't play, I thought the Islanders responded with an inspired performance.
Yeah, we did, but with Mike on the power play, you want to have that guy out there because he is a really sniper, and he probably scored at least 50% of all our power plays, and it's going to hurt us if he can't come back, to the next game, no doubt about that, but I think he will be back.
A lot of penalties in the game so far. Which team does that favor?
Usually the home teams,
yeah.
Because they score a lot of power plays on the home ice, but we've been doing pretty good so far this year, but if you look back at the 3 years before we won the Cup, we had like around 30-35% power play goals, and that sort of won the Cup for us the first year when we played Philadelphia, and you got to have that working for you when you're playing in the final.
As you sit and watch the Islanders play, what are the key things you look for that tells you that the Islanders are playing at their peak? Is it the look in Bobby Nystrom's eyes? Is it the way Brian is skating? Is it Al Arbor's pace behind the bench? What is it?
Al, I don't see that much because he's behind us, but I think it's the intensity. If you see when they sort of Oilers coming up the ice and you see the other guys, really the forward, trying to come back, then you know it's okay. But if you see they sort of tire out there before they really can come back, then you know you're in pretty bad shape, because everyone got to come back, especially against this team, because they use that delay play a lot. The center man goes in, curl just inside the blue line, wait for the defenseman to sneak up on the other side, and they make that cross-ice pass. And you really got to come back all the time to take him out.
Stefan, as I watch you play, and I might be ruffling your feathers here a little bit, I can't help but think that this Edmonton Oilers team would be a perfect team for you to play on.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about that. Exciting hockey. I think most of the people in the United States and Canada now, they look forward to finals like this between Oilers and us, because I think we're two good hockey teams, and there's a lot of talent on both teams. But the Oilers, they're a great team, no doubt about that. I mean, if I got traded, I wouldn't mind get traded to them.
Well, we don't want to start anything here. Hockey fans across the country are saying things like Dream Series. This is the one that the Oilers wanted because it's not the same if you don't beat the defending champions. And from the Islanders' standpoint, the regular season is a distant memory. Now, if they want to win the Stanley Cup, certainly the challenge of the Edmonton Oilers is strong. How do you see this series?
We want to beat Oilers pretty bad, because it's a team with a lot of confidence. I mean, they've been sort of blowing the other side out in this finals, in this Stanley Cup. And we had a rough year, and many sort of counted us out, and they start thinking, oh, they're over the hill and they don't want it anymore. And on our team, it's a lot of guys who want to prove that's wrong.
The important things for the Islanders in the rest of this game?
We're going to try to play in their end a little bit more and force their defense. I think that's a little bit of the key. And get a lot of shots, sort of get in front of the goalie, like put a guy in front and take a lot of shots. We got to get those shots.
Well, the butterflies in the stomach are long gone. This series is well underway, and we'd like to thank Stefan Persson for joining us in our studio in between periods 1 and 2, and for being with us. He will receive the exciting new disc camera from Kodak. It's so easy to use, you never miss a picture. Our guest has been Stefan Persson of the New York Islanders, where after one period of play at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, it is the Islanders 1 and the Oilers nothing. When we return, a look back to 1979's Conn Smythe winner, Bob Gainey of Montreal. We'll be back.